Okay, students, let's begin with the second part, that is the potential energy. But before that, I like to teach you, which I happened to forget teach you last time. When I taught you energy, I think you understood that energy is the capability to do work. Now energy can be also measured, or I can say work done can be measured, because energy and work done are same. Energy and work done are same. Now energy can be measured and also work done can be measured. For example, you can say that person has done a lot of work, or you can also say that person has not done or done a very little work. So when you say lot of work, when you say little work, but in physics now, when you say lot of work or a little work, you just cannot say lot of work or little work like that. You have to mention how much the work is done. How much is the person has done 10 work or 100 work or 1000 work. Okay, we have to define how much work is done. So anything which can be measured has a unit. Anything which can be measured has a unit. Anything which is measured has a unit. For example, you take what? 5 kg of rice. So when you say 5 kg, 5 kg, this kg is what? This kg is nothing but the unit. 5 meter of clothes. Okay? 5 meter of cloth. This meter is nothing but what? A unit. Also you say, I'll be there within 5 minutes. I will be there within 5 minutes. Or you can say, after 5 hours I'll come back. After 5 hours I will come back. 5 hours. Or just you can say just wait for a second. Okay, you say normally you say just give me a second. Okay, so give me 2 seconds. You say, so these minutes, hours, second, all are what? Units. These are units of time. This is unit of meter is what? Unit of length. This kg is what? Unit of mass. Similarly, exactly similarly, you have what? 5 joule, 50 joule, 500 joule. J stands for Joule. So this joule is what? Joule is nothing but the unit of work. Joule is nothing but the unit of work. So when you say he has done little work, means what? He has done 10 joule of work. He has done lot of work. He has done 100 joule of work. He has done medium work. I will say, okay, this is 1000 joule of work and this is 100 joule of work. So this joule is what? The unit of work. This joule is nothing but unit of work or unit of energy. So joule is what? Unit of work or unit of also energy. So energy is measured in joules. Energy is measured in joules. I think you understood this part. Energy is measured in joules. Like mass is measured in what? Kg. Mass is measured in kg. But along with kg, we have one more unit. And we also use that. We say what? Gram. Kg and gram are both the units of mass. This is SI unit and this is CGS unit. Like that we say or not? Hour, second, meter, centimeter. Okay, these are all the SI units and these are all the CGS units. See, C for centimeter, G for gram, S for second. CGS unit. SI means Standard International Unit. Similarly, this for mass, this for time, this for length. Exactly in the same manner, if we say energy, energy has also 2 units. Just now we have discussed 1 unit. What was that? Joule. That was joule. Joule. Okay, or J. We represent it by the letter J. Another unit also used is what? Calorie. Calorie is also a unit of energy. Not much used, but used in food purpose or other purposes. Mostly we use joule, but there is another unit known as calorie. Now let's say, what is the relationship between kg and gram? What is the relationship between kg and gram? We can say what? 1 kg is equal to 1000 gram. All of you know that. What is the relationship between hour and second? 1 hour. In 1 hour, we have 3600 second. We have 3600 seconds. 60 into 60. Meter and centimeter. I can say what? 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter. Okay, these are relationship between kg, gram. 1 kg, 1000 gram, hour, second. 1 hour is equal to 3600 second. Meter, centimeter. 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. Similarly, what is the relationship between joule and calorie? There is also a relation. And the relation is what? 1 calorie. 1 calorie, okay? 1 calorie is equal to near about, okay, approximately 4.2 joule. 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 joule. I think this is clear to you. 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 joule. So remember this relation for the exam, okay? In certain kinds of filling the blanks exam, filling the blanks is in section A, you get this short questions, okay? Filling the blanks, that 1 calorie is equal to dash unit. So 4.2 unit, 4.2 joule, very easy. Now after this, we will talk about the next part, that is called the potential energy. Now we'll talk about the second brother of kinetic energy. The two brothers, one is kinetic energy and one is potential energy, and together these two brothers are known as mechanical energy. You can remember it like that way. Now, potential energy is what? Okay, let's understand potential energy by some examples. With the help of examples only you can understand. And I will take the example which is given in your book. All of you have a tap. When you open the tap, water flows, water comes out, and you happen to wash your face or wash your hands. Whatever is for purpose, you do it. But my question is, why the water is flowing so fast from the tap? As you open, so I'm drawing it, okay? So it's easier for you to understand. This is a tap, okay? And as you open the tap, water happens to flow very fast. Why? Why? Because there is a tank. There is a tank which stores the water, and this tank and this tap, they are connected by the pipe. This tank and tap, they are connected by the pipe, right? This tank has what? This tank stores the water, and from the tank the water flows through the pipe, and it through the tap it comes out. Now obviously all of you have seen a tank. Many of you have in your houses, or you have seen near our junior school, so primary school, you have seen a tank also over there. This tank happens to store water. The water which is stored in the tank has potential energy. This water in this tank has what? Potential energy. Why potential energy? Why not kinetic energy? A nice question. Why this water has potential energy? Why the water right now in this tank doesn't have any kinetic energy? Now I think I told you, to have kinetic energy, what we need? The body should be moving. Right now the water which is inside the tank, not I'm talking about the pipe, okay? The water which is there inside the tank, is it moving? No, the water is not moving. So as the water is not moving, it will have no kinetic energy. It will have no kinetic energy. But suppose this is the ground, okay? And the Okay, just a second. So from this level of the what from the ground, this water is stored at a certain height. This water is stored at a certain height. The water which is stored at a certain height from the ground, this water has kinetic potential energy. The what anything which is at a certain height from the ground has what energy inside it? It has potential energy. So this what the water has what potential energy. Why the water has potential energy? Because it is at a certain height from the ground. So now let's understand this thing with a different set of examples. Right now, this is the ground and there is a stone. This stone. Now this stone neither has any kinetic energy, neither it has potential energy. No kinetic energy, no potential energy. Now suppose we are giving, so let's, with my hand, I am making the ball move. I am making the ball move upward. Okay, the ball happens to move upward in this. The ball happens to go upward. So what we are doing? I am doing work. I am doing work in to do what? To make the ball move upward. So I am doing work to make the ball move upward. So I am giving my energy. So the energy that I am giving, say I am giving say 100 joule of energy. I am giving 100 joule of energy to make the ball go from position A, which is the ground, to position B, which is at a certain height. So I am giving 100 joule of energy. I am giving 100 joule of energy to this ball. And after the ball receives the 100 joule of energy, what the ball does? It raises it to a certain height. Now what happens? That 100 joule of energy, once the body gets the body moves to a certain height. So this ball at the position B has this 100 joule of energy that I have given. I have given the 100 joule of energy to the ball, and ball has consumed it. Ball has taken that energy and it has stored inside it. The ball has taken the energy and it has stored the energy inside it. So the 100 joule of energy that I have given to the ball is stored inside the ball, and the ball happens to go at a certain height. So the work that I am doing on the body, that is stored in the body. The work that I am doing on the body, it is stored in the body in the form of potential energy. So I am again repeating, the work that I am doing on the body is stored in the body in the form of potential energy. And so 100 joule of potential energy it has. Now, so there's two types of potential energy. We'll talk about that. So I think right now we have understood what is potential energy. When a body is raised to a certain height, it will have energy inside it. And what energy it is? Potential energy. That is not the only condition. There is a second kind of potential energy also. We'll discuss that later, okay? But when we are giving energy to the body happens to store that energy and in the form of potential energy. When we give energy to the body happens to store the energy in the form of potential energy. Now, let's talk about the two kinds of potential energy that we have. The two kinds of potential energy that we have. The first kind of potential energy that we have is what? Gravitational potential energy. The first kind of potential energy that we have is called as what? Gravitational potential energy. Now see, this is the earth. And earth has a tendency to attract everything towards itself. Everybody, me, you, your chair, your table, the books, the pencil, the pen, everything is attracted towards the earth. Why? Because the earth attracts everything towards itself. Okay, so earth attracts everything towards itself, and that is called gravity. What is gravity? The attraction that the earth gives towards every body to make the body lie on its surface. Okay, but if we have to make a body go upward, if we have to make the body move upward, if we have to make the body move upward, then what we have to do? We have to go. See, this is gravity. This is gravity is downward. This gravity is downward. And if we have to make the body go in the upward direction, then what we need to do? We have to move. We have to move against gravity. We have to move against gravity. So, so the work that we do, to make the body go against the gravity, we have to do what? Obviously, the body cannot go by itself. The body cannot go by itself. We have to do certain kind of work, on this body to make the body go upward. So, suppose we do 100, give 100 joule of work on this body, and the body happens to go upward. This kind of, so right now as the body has gone upward, this body will have what? Potential energy. Over here no energy, over here no potential energy. After we do 100 joule of work, the body gets that energy, 100 joule of energy, and the body moves upward. And after the body moves upward, it has what? Potential energy. So potential energy is what? No, that is what? Gravitational potential energy. And what is gravitational potential energy? The energy acquired by the body due to its height. So gravitational potential energy is what? Energy acquired by the body due to its height. So energy acquired by the body due to its height. As the body is over at this height, suppose the height is h, the body has energy, and this kind of energy or this kind of potential energy, when the body is at a certain height, is called as gravitational potential energy. Is called as gravitational potential energy. Why gravitational potential energy? Because the body is moving against the gravity. Gravity is pulling it downward, and the body is moving against the gravity. Body is going upward. Gravity pulling downward. The body is going against the gravity. Body is going upward. So that is why it is called gravitational potential energy. Now we come to the second part. I think all of you understood the gravitational potential energy. Now we come to the second part, that is called as what? Energy due to condition. Energy due to the condition. So potential energy due to condition. Okay, potential energy due to condition. Now let's understand that over there it is not, or the body will not move to a certain height. Previously the body was moving to a certain height, and because of that height the body was having the energy, and that is called as gravitational potential energy. In this potential energy, that potential energy due to condition, the body no need to move it to a certain height. Other conditions are there. Okay, let's take the condition. This is a arrow, so this is a bow, and this arrow. To make the arrow go forward, okay, what we need to do? We need to bend the arrow or not? We need to bend the arrow backward, and then only after we release the string or we release the arrow will move forward. So This bow is responsible to make the arrow move. So what we are doing, try to understand. We are giving our own energy. First, we give our own energy, 100 joule of energy. To whom? To this bow. We are giving 100 joule of energy to this bow. And the bow is, as we are stretching the bow backward, we are giving 100 joule of energy. Due to our energy, due to the energy that is given to us, and now we are giving to whom? To the bow. Now the bow is acquiring that energy. I am giving 100 joule of energy. After I give the 100 joule of energy, the bow acquires it. Bow gets the 100 joule of energy and bow keeps it to himself. And the bow which keeps it to himself as potential energy, that the energy that I am giving to stretch the bow, 100 joule of energy, the energy that I am giving to this bow, because of this energy, the bow is getting stretched backward. So means what? The bow is acquiring the energy, or bow is storing the energy to himself. And this energy, the bow, which the bow happens to, this is the bow and this is the arrow, okay? So the energy which is stored in the bow is called as what? Potential energy. And as we release the arrow, all the potential energy, the 100 joule of potential energy that is stored, we were giving 100 joule of energy, and the bow acquires the 100 joule of energy. Now as we release the string, or as we release the arrow takes all the 100 joule of energy. The arrow takes all the 100 joule of energy. This arrow takes all the 100 joule of energy and flies forward. Okay, flies forward. So, okay, that's it. Now this moving arrow has what? This 100 joule of energy is what? Kinetic energy, because the arrow is moving. Moving arrow, kinetic energy. But this kinetic energy of 100 joule, how this arrow gets from this bow, and this bow in the stretched condition has what kind of energy? Conditional potential energy. Again I'm repeating, the bow in the stretched condition has what kind of energy? Conditional potential energy. Take an example for another example, okay? Take another example. You have a spring. Now you press the spring. Now you compress the spring. The spring will become this size. Now what we do is that we put a ball. On the top of the spring. Okay, we put a ball on the top of the spring, and as we release the spring, what happens? The spring comes back to the original form. But the ball which was over here happens to go where? Happens to move to a certain height. So this spring, right now this spring has no energy. But as we compress the spring in this compressed, the spring in this compressed condition has potential energy inside it. The spring in the compressed condition has potential energy inside it. And as we release the spring, in the third, you see, as we release the spring, all the potential energy which were there in the spring was given as kinetic energy to the ball, and the ball happens to fly. See, ball is moving, so means what? This moving ball has what? This moving ball has kinetic energy. How this kinetic energy, from where this kinetic energy the ball gets? From the spring. Why? The spring has what kind of energy? The spring has potential energy. Acha, from where this spring got the potential energy? Over here, so there is a 0 joule of energy. There is no energy. Over there, you can see the spring has 100 joule of energy. From where the spring gets this 100 joule of energy? The spring got the 100 joule of energy from us, because we have compressed the spring to this size. So we have given our energy, my hand energy. I have given 100 joule of energy to compress the spring. I have given 100 joule of energy to compress the spring. This 100 joule of energy that I have given is stored in the spring. So all the 100 joule of my body energy, the 100 joule of energy from my body was given to the spring, and the spring happens to store the energy as potential energy. The spring happens to store all the 100 joule of energy in the form of potential energy. And as we release the spring, all the potential energy releases all the potential energy in the form of kinetic energy, and the ball moves high up in the air. So this is what? This is conditional potential energy. Over there you can see the spring or the arrow. They are not at a certain, they are not at a height. The this is ground. So the spring or the arrow were not at a height, but still they were getting potential energy. So this kind of potential energy, when the body is not at a height, is known as what? Conditional potential energy. So there are two kinds of potential energy. One is what? Gravitational potential energy. What is gravitational potential energy? When the body is raised to a certain height, that is called as gravitational potential energy. And what is conditional potential energy? The potential energy stored in the body due to certain conditions, like we stretch the bow or we compress the spring. So this is what? This is what? Conditional potential energy. So the two kinds of potential energy that we have, I think this should be clear to you by now. Okay, so this was all for today. The notes will be given to you, and tomorrow or day after tomorrow we'll continue with this chapter. Okay, so bye for now. Bye, take care.